Welcome to Be Sweet to Yourself Yoga. Happy Thursday. If you'd like to find a seat on a chair, on the floor, wherever you're comfortable, firmly placing your sit bones on the ground beneath you, possibly lengthen your spine and finding some space in your spine and in your breath. Placing your hands to wherever feels home to you. I like to start with acknowledging South Asian culture from which yoga comes from. And I like to give a land acknowledgement to the Arapaho and Pawnee nations, for I live and practice on their land. I like to start with 3 ohms. Feel free to just listen or join me. So today we're going to start with just a little neck rub. So go ahead and place your hands on your neck and your shoulder area and just go for it. Give yourself a massage, maybe little circles at the nape of the neck, or stroking yourself upwards. I like to stroke upwards and give myself some length. So our neck for me tends to be, and my shoulder area tends to be a place where I hold a lot of tension and resistance and stress. And there's so much happening up here. There's the jugular vein and the carotid artery, the vagus nerve, the bronchial plexus, and it's like a super highway of joining together and crossing over. So I mean, no wonder there's like possibly so much tension built up there, right? Because there's all these things happening. So we're just going to start off with a little rub and focus on some neck freedom. So this opening sequence is one that I've taken from my teacher, Kelly Cam, because I always feel really good. My neck feels better and released after I do this. So once you feel like you've loosened up your tissues there, we're just gonna go right into a circular of the spine. So staying seated, my legs are in Sukhasana or just easy pose. And feel free to continue rubbing your neck. And eventually finding like a spiral or like a spinning of your spine, like a top kind of. And feel free to move your shoulders and your arms with that. And at any point, feel free to reverse or go back and forth. I mean, you have total freedom here. This is a wonderful place to say that when I'm teaching, everything I say is a suggestion. So you're always free to interpret or re-navigate your body to whatever your body needs. Your body is intelligent and brilliant and can really guide you. Just finding some looseness. Personally, I'm letting my head kind of start and hang and feel heavy along with that shoulder rub that we did. So tuning into your breath and your body here and just finding this spinal spin or spinal dance of looseness and just letting go and possibly feeling heavy. For me, it was a heavy week. I have a heavy heart for the events that happen, which we'll talk again more at the end of class. But it's just nice to let go and release. and play, play, play. Try to what am I trying to say? That speedway of highway of all those things that are happening in your neck, right under your collarbone and everywhere. Can we untraffic the traffic jam? So letting that go, and then bringing your hands out in front of you and just finding, I'm gonna move back so you can see me a little bit more. Finding a reach here. So just slowly walking your fingers out on the floor and finding a stretch here and letting your head drop heavy out in front of you. That first layer of sensation, feeling into, and really trying to concentrate on letting that head drop heavy. And then for me, my left leg is in front in my Sukhasana, in my easy cross sitting position. So I'm going to go to the left first. But whatever foot is in front is the way that you want to walk. So if your right foot's in front, you're going to walk to the right. If your left foot's in front, walk to your left. So your hands are just going to walk a little bit to the side here. And take that stretch from the front to the side. Releasing your neck and your shoulders. And then walking it over a little bit more to the side. So for me, I'm going to place my elbow down to the side. If your hip comes off the floor, if your sit bone comes off the floor, let it happen. That's totally fine. And then reach your arm up and over to the side. And find a side stretch here while you're sitting in Sukhasana. And again, try to relieve the tension and maybe drop your head and just extend your fingers out to the side. Again, it's okay if that hip comes up, my sit bone comes up off the floor. There's no need to be proper here. We're just kind of feeling heavy, letting that weight take us into that side stretch. And then lift your arm up behind you. And then we're going to come into this swamp monster thing where you rotate your shoulder in and then shoulder out. As we're reaching to the side and I'm laying on my elbow here, just internal rotation of the shoulder, out rotation of the shoulder. And again, giving attention as you're doing this internal and external rotation of the shoulder, paying attention to your neck and your head, letting it be heavy, and trying to really hydrate and loosen up those joints. Oh. So going into this swamp monster, or where your hand is turned upwards and your palm is towards the back, can you then take the front part of your palm and reach it to the back and extend like so? I'm going to show you. So your hand is just on your back like so while you're still in this pose. And then from here, can you kind of do some cat-cows and lean forward and then open your shoulder a little bit while your hand is awkwardly twisted behind your back. Can you open and close your shoulder? It may not be a lot of movement. That's okay. It is what it is, right? And it's just about finding that little extra twist or release here. And then go ahead and pull your shoulder back as much as you can. And then give attention to your head fully. And for me, I'm holding it up. So, can I actually let it drop? Can I let the gravity pull in through my head here? And then as I hold my shoulder back, can I just let the head drop? Trying to untraffic those jams. And then letting that go, untwisting, unfolding that arm, and then bringing it up and over your head one more time. And then this time, give a little bit of attention to that opposite hip or sit bone. Can you reach for the floor if it's up above? Mine still is not quite reaching the floor, but I'm giving the attention to the reach of one side of my sit bone and the other side of my fingers. So feeling that extra side reach here. How's your jaw and the inside of your cheeks and your neck? Can you loosen it, maybe wiggle your jaw as you're in this pose? And then bringing that hand back down to the floor, walking through the center here, and then maybe just unfolding and rising up and feeling the after effects. Oh, feeling the energy buzz, feeling the rebound from that side stretch. What's the temperature? What's happening inside your body? For me, my one side of the body is like this warmth, and the other side of the body still has this like cool temperature to it. So tuning in, finding your breath, and being with the rebound. With that breath, can you create just a little bit more space in your spine, some length? And then go ahead and just, a little reminder here, just rub your neck one more time. For me, I'm going to stroke upwards because I'm trying to find that length after that side stretch. Maybe open your elbows and close them. Just discovering that now, it's really interesting to feel the difference in my sockets, in my shoulder sockets here. Because we did a little bit of work on one side and not so much on the other. So it's really intriguing to me to inquire in your body, right? Returning again and again to your body and your breath. And then letting that go, taking your fingers and then walking yourself out. Oh, switch your legs. I forgot. So whatever leg was in front, do the opposite. And then slowly, at your own pace here, reach forward, caress your fingers on the floor, drop your head and your neck, round your back, and just stretch to whatever layer of sensation feels delightful to you. Tapping into your breath and the texture of your feelings. And then whatever side you didn't do, we're going to do the other. Since I neglected to say, we'll all be on the same leg. So me, I'm personally reaching to the right, but if you did the right already, now reach to the left. So start your walk over with your hands. And then again, just breathe. And check in again, over and over to your neck and shoulder. Can you release it a little bit more? Can you unloosen yourself a little bit more here? And then continuing that walk along the side. For me, I'm going to put my right elbow on the ground and then lift my left up over me. Allowing that hip to rise if you wish. That sitting bone can come up off the floor. It adds a little stretch to your side and the sensation here. Focusing on your breath again. And your feeling here. And then from this side stretch, reaching your hand to the sky and then starting to explore that inner and outer rotation of your shoulder. Remembering to be sweet to yourself, right? You don't want to overdo it from the beginning. Maybe it's just a little twist and a turn. And then as you get warmer and more hydrated, maybe you can test yourself and twist a little bit more. But remembering that you should always be sweet to yourself. And then checking in with your head again. Like, as I'm doing this, I noticed that I kind of was straining in the back of my neck. So what can I do to release that as I'm internal and external rotation here? So my teacher, Kelly Cam, likes to say, when your palms are the ceiling, that's your hallelujah. And then when you twist your palms down and to the back, right? That's your swamp monster. So the next time you get into your swamp monster pose, bring the back of your palm to the back, somewhere along your back, wherever feels comfortable to you. And then we're going to do an even slighter movement here. You may not even see me do it much, but then I'm going to go into these cat and cows from the side. So your shoulders like C curving and then trying to press up and open. And for me, my head, I like to move my head with my shoulder rock, shoulder roll, rock and roll on the side. Feeling into yourself, finding your breath. And then once you've done that a couple times, can you pull your shoulder back and lift? Maybe find some length in your spine as you're to the side, and then focus mainly on your head. Whew, can you let it drop? So can you maintain that shoulder stretch back, and then also let your head go? And then here you have some freedom to do what you need to do as we hold this pose. For me, I like to move my head a little bit, and it gets into different parts, different stretching parts of the shoulder and the arm and the back. And I'm also feeling it in my love handles. So, you know, go within, find your inner landscape and be curious. Explore and feel. Notice. Pay attention. And then letting that go. Slowly unraveling your hand from the back and then slowly bringing it up over to the side. And then as we're in this side stretch one more time, this time can you focus on your tailbone, the opposite tailbone. Oh, I should say sit bone, sorry, not tailbone. Your sit bone here. Can it reach for the floor as you reach for the side? Focusing on your breath. And then bringing your hand down to the mat, slowly, with intention and tenderness, walk your hands back to the front. And then for me, I'm gonna slowly roll myself up. Find some length in my spine, release my neck, and sit with the rebound. Now what's the temperature and the texture of your body? Is it the same? Is it different on the other side? How do you feel? Taking deep breaths, maybe out loud breaths like I just did. How do your neck and shoulders feel? Do you need any other movement? If you need any other movement, go for it. I'm going to untwist my legs and just kind of shift myself side to side. Again, in the rebound poses, you know, you take care of yourself. You do what you got to do. And then eventually when you're ready, make your way to child's pose. So knees together, forehead on the floor. We're going to meet in child's pose. As we move on, feel free to go through tabletop like I'm doing now, finding any shifting that you need to do to wash off what we just did, those side stretches, those neck stretches, and then meet in child's pose. I'm going to hold this for a minute, for a second. I'm just in traditional child's pose here, so my bottom is back towards my heels. Mine don't touch, but that's okay. If you want extra support, you can always add a blanket underneath or a pillow underneath. Reaching your fingers out on the mat and really maybe pressing your forehead into the mat. So from here, we're going to do a little sequence Nothing too complicated here, but all we're going to do is roll your head from side to side on the mat. So you're staying in child's pose. So if you want to look up, you can. We're going to do this anywhere between 7 and 10 times. But your forehead's going to stay on the mat, and you're just going to roll your forehead from side to side as much as you like or as little as you like. And then once you've done the side to side, you're going to lift your bottom into the air and then do the top of your head and then back. And then return to child's pose. So you're going to roll your head from side to side and then forward and back. And the way I'm saying it quicker than I want you to do it, right? I want you to really get your brain into the floor, right? Massage the forehead, all those thinking muscles, all the things you have to do, just letting go of everything and tapping into the sensation, pressing your head into the floor. For me, this is one of my favorite things to do. And you can go as far or as little as you want, and you can use your hands to support you. So rolling from side to side. Forward and back. Letting your hair and skin follicles up in your scalp get a little massage. Giving a little tension to your head, to your brain. Like I said, it was a heavy week for me, so something like this just grounds me and brings me back to the present, right? Sensation in your body. Oh, the yumminess of rolling and feeling every surface that you're rolling through. Rolling side to side and up and back. And I hope you're not counting. Just keep going with that motion for about a minute more. And then once you finish this last round, just come into stillness in your child's pose. Great. And then we're going to stay in this child's pose, but we're going to add a little bit different movement. So now we're going to give some attention to your hands. So in your traditional child's pose that we're all meeting in, your hands are out in front of you. Just press into the floor and pull your right hand back behind you along your side, your palms on the floor, and then it's going to flip to not being on the floor, and then you're going to rotate it and like you're swimming in the ocean or in a pool, like freestyle, bringing it up and over your head and meeting it back down on the floor. If you can, keep your head on the floor, keep your forehead on the floor, but you can obviously move and shift whatever you need to do. My head's just up because I'm talking to you. And then you're going to do the left side. So pressing your hand into the mat, into the carpet, into your space, and feeling that sensation along the palms of your hand as you stroke back. Flip your hand, and then up and over. You might want to pick up your head off the mat to do that because it is an awkward little shoulder rotation here. And then doing it together at the same time. So two hands, pulling your elbows in as close to your body or as far away from your body as possible, paying attention to the sensation, scraping, sweeping motion that we're doing, and then bringing your hands up and over your head and then back down to the ground. So we did right, left, and then both hands. Now can you bring your right hand and then tuck it under your left? We're going to stay in this child's pose, but keeping your palm on the floor and then coming into a twisted child's pose here. Just for a moment. I'm not going to hold it that long. You can keep your forehead on the ground, or you can put your right side of your forehead or your cheek on the ground as you hold this pose. Finding your breath, being with your lungs as they expand and contract in this pose, in this child's pose that we're holding. And then taking your right hand, taking it back out from that threaded place, and then coming back to traditional child's pose. And then we're going to do that whole thing again and then twist on the left side. So pulling your left hand back this time, bringing it across the floor, paying attention to the sensation. So push into the floor if you like, rising up and then swimming in the ocean, bringing it up and over your head and then back to your traditional child's pose. And then doing it again on the other side. Pulling your elbow back, lifting up and over at your own pace here. Checking in with your jaw, checking in with your forehead, checking in with your neck here. And see, can you do it and release yourself? And then pulling both hands back along the floor, pressing into the ground, paying attention to the sensations. Arms come up and over your body and back to the floor. And then this time, bringing your left arm in and tucking it under that threaded needle, that opening space, and laying down and coming into a twisted child's pose. And we're going to hold it just for a little bit. How does the sides of your body feel up in your armpit and shoulders, and your forehead on the ground? Can you imagine all those traffic jams and veins and nerves and crossways and pathways? Can you release them as we're holding here? Finding your breath. And then coming out, untwisting, pulling that left arm, out from underneath you and coming back to your regular child's pose. Do that sequence one more time. So you're going to pull your right arm back on the floor, flip your palm, and then reach up and over, placing it to meet the other hand, and then pull your left hand back along the floor, reaching it back behind you, up and over, reaching the floor. And then one more time, both hands together, back behind you, release up and over. Re-arriving into your traditional child's pose. And then placing your elbows on the floor and putting your palms together like you're making a prayer. And then putting it at the nape of your neck here. So it goes right over your head like so. Like so. Like this. Really behind you on the floor. Called an Anjali child pose. And then with your hands at the nape of your neck, palms together, can you press into your shins and lift your forehead off the ground and come to a lift? Breathe. And then bring your hands up and over your head, bringing them to the floor, and then curving your spine like a big, exaggerated cat spine, and slowly lowering your pelvis to the floor, little by little. Ooh. Nice and slow, right? And then when you get down, moving your hands, tucking your toes, and giving yourself a little organ rock. I like to call this an organ rock. Maybe you make some sound. Release yourself. Your forehead can be on the mat, moving back and forth, or you can move your neck or your shoulders, whatever you need to do, but just kind of finding a little release and then coming into stillness. Pulling your elbows underneath you and lifting your head up and coming into a sphinx pose. So elbows on the ground, palms down on the ground, shoulders pressed down and chin lifted up here. Can you find your breath? Find some relaxation. Try not to tense your lower back here. If this is too much sensation for you, you can always open your elbows a little bit and lower yourself So whatever's comfortable for you. Holding this Sphinx pose for a moment. And then letting that Sphinx pose go, bringing your forehead back down to the mat, moving your hands back to support you. And then this time, we're going to go through the all fours pose, but you're going to lead with your pelvis. So let your butt kind of reach for the ceiling and keep your chest on the floor and press into your hands. You're kind of snaking back the opposite way like we did. We did the exaggerated cat. This time we're doing the exaggerated cow, leading with your pelvis, and then just coming back into child's pose. Arriving at child's pose. Once you have arrived there, lifting your hands off the floor, leaving your elbows on the ground, putting your palms together, and then going into that undulate child pose here. For me, I'm actually going to lift my elbows off the ground and pull my shoulders back. And then from here, using your hands or not using your hands, pressing into your shins. Can you lift your head off the ground, pull your shoulders and elbows back, and lift up to the sky like so? It's a little difficult. And then opening your arms up and over in that prayer pose, reaching for the ground, and then going in for that cat, exaggerated cat pose again. So moving through that cat pose, leading down with your pelvic bone. Your pelvic bone is going to reach the floor first, your thighs and your pelvic bone. Slowly snaking yourself back down to the ground. Giving yourself, touching your toes, a mini rock this time, just to arrive and then settle. Forehead on the ground. And then when you're ready, coming back into the Sphinx, elbows on the ground, head up, feet relaxed in the back, lower back relaxed. And since we're focusing on the shoulders and the neck today, if you wish, you can hold this Sphinx pose like normal, or you can bring your right hand out, face you so you can see me a little better. Bring your right hand out to the side and kind of tense your fingers and lift up, and then drop your ear to your left shoulder. So you're holding a Sphinx pose with your left arm, and you're extended with the right arm. And you're dropping your ear to your shoulder to feel this extra stretch along the side. And can you do that and relax your lower back here as you're pressing into your left hand? Letting that go, lifting your chin back to the center, bringing your right hand back into Sphinx, and then lowering your forehead to the ground, elbows out to the side. Thinking about initiating from that tailbone, pressing your hands into the ground and lifting your tailbone to the sky, scraping your chest along your space, coming in, and then back through child's pose like we started. Once you've arrived in that child's pose, maybe you need to take a moment, breathe. And then one last time, bringing your hands, palms together, elbows still on the ground, up and over your head to the nape of your neck. If you wish, you can bring your elbows off the ground so that you're in a full extension here. And then pressing into the shins. Press into your shins and your knees. And then lift your head up and come up. Sit up. Find your breath. Undo your hands, bring them up and over you. Back down to the ground, and one last time we're going to go through this exaggerated cat pose. So leading, dropping your head down, extending yourself, rolling through all fours, extending, pressing your hips down to the ground, the thighs, pelvic bone, bending your head, arms, laying your chest and coming down to the ground. Possibly being still for a moment, or if you wish, you can do that Oregon rock one more time. I like to lessen it. I started with it really big and now tuning into a little bit more minute movements. And then we're going to press up into Sphinx one more time. So first coming into traditional Sphinx here, so elbows on the ground, feet on the ground, head up, finding some relaxation possibly in that lower back as you press your shoulders back. And then this time, weight on your right elbow, extending your left hand, tenting your fingers, which means just your fingers touch the ground, extending your extending your arms so that you're feeling supported. And then when you're ready, dropping your ear to the right shoulder. It might take you a little bit to, as always, right, to find that sweet spot. Breathing into that tension that you may be holding. This is a little bit different of a stretch here, so maybe you can find a little niche you haven't found yet in all of the neck and shoulder releasing that we've been doing today. For me, reminding myself that I need to press into that right elbow on the ground to feel supported in my right shoulder. And then lifting my head back through center, lifting it up from the right shoulder, bringing my hands back in through regular Sphinx. And then before we let this go, we did the right ear drop and left ear drop. So now as you're in this Sphinx, can you actually drop your nose, your chin to your chest? And as you're in this Sphinx pose, can you just let your head be heavy? Can you let all of the junk just fall from your head? You just let it drop. Again, if it's too much in the lower back, you can always open your elbows the slightest bit to relieve any strain. You don't want to feel strain. Strain is not good. And then when you're ready, letting that go, bringing your hands down from Sphinx, possibly putting them behind you and letting the back of your hands lay on the floor by your bottom, forehead on the mat or sideways. Or if you don't want your hands by your side, you can always make a pillow for your hands, with your hands for your head, and just take a moment here to let all of that wash off. So we did a lot of slow curling, unfurling movement there, stretching. So our next pose is pretty easy. From your alligator pose or your stomach pose here, just push yourself to your left side. So now you're just gonna lay on your side here and arrive here, however you want to do. And you might have some shifting that happens, but just move to your side. Feel your side body melting into the floor beneath you. If you want your hand in front of you to support you, that's fine. If you want to lay it on your bottom along your side body, that's great. Just take a moment to arrive and sink and feel. Tune into your breath. Pay attention to your neck and your shoulders. minute by minute, we return to our bodies. So from here, lifting your right leg up above you. So slowly lifting it up, keeping your left bottom leg either straight or bent. However you're sitting on your side is fine. Laying on your side, I should say. So raising your right foot to the ceiling, letting it stay here. We're going to hold this for about 2 minutes. So letting it stay here, or if you wish, you can reach for your foot or your ankle or your sock. I like to put my 2 fingers in between my big toe, and I like to grasp onto my big toe and pull it in. So again, whatever works for you, you can just hold it and let it linger like seaweed in the sea, or you can add a little bit more stretch. If you want to linger first, that's fine. Halfway through, which actually is in about 10 seconds, I'll let you know that you can grab it if you want to add that stretch. So it is halfway through. So if you do want to grab your sock, your knee, your pant leg, whatever you want to grab to add a little bit more sensation, now would be the time to do it. Ooh. Personally, my body just naturally wanted to do some ankle rolls, so feel free to ankle roll when you're up there too. I have really loud joints. They pop and snap a lot. And I didn't mention that your leg had to be stretched straight. It does not have to be stretched straight. So again, you know, you do you. You do you. And then with love and tenderness, letting go of your leg and slowly bringing it back down to the ground with control. You don't want to just plop it down. You want to engage all those muscles and be controlled. And then once you arrive back down to your side body, you're going to press into your hands. So pressing up to on your hands, your right hand in front of you and your left hand kind of to the side. And for me, I'm going to actually kind of straighten my legs and kind of come into this cross position. This is called a lying Buddha. So we're going to stay here for about 2 minutes. Press into your hands, play with your head if you want movement. If you don't want movement, you can just press into your hands and find some length in your spine. Minute by minute, returning to your body's sensations, your body's calls, your body's wants. For this pose, I like to close my eyes if that's something that you want to challenge yourself with. It makes me really tune into the small dance that your body's doing, the slight rocking, the slight recalibration. The breathing. And then with a really light push with gentleness, just letting your bottom roll to the back and come to a seated position. Ooh, and just rebound, right? Feel that side stretch wherever you felt it. Sitting and arriving. Feeling those effects. Letting it wash off. And then we're done with the lying Buddha. We're going to do a seated swan. So bend your left foot, put it flat on the ground, and then take your right foot and make like a figure 4. So you're just going to lay it across your knee. Your hands behind you and support you. It's great support behind you, and it's fun for me to kind of play with that shoulder thing, right? So you can either sink into your shoulders or extend them and work on that neck and shoulder placement still while we're stretching our legs. So again, this might take you a little bit time to shift through and get to that stretch wherever that first layer that you desire. For me, I had to walk my feet in a little bit more so that I could feel the stretch along my outer thigh and buttocks area on the right leg. Coming into this figure 4. If leaning back on your hands doesn't work for you, that's fine. You can also just like grab your legs and kind of do the opposite and decurve yourself. Whatever's comfortable. Seated swan position. Finding your breath. Noticing again. And then when your mind wanders, noticing again. And then coming out of that, however you feel is necessary. I like to do it with my hands, so that I'm being tender and careful. Wish washing your feet side to side, or just being in stillness. So whatever you need. I'm actually just going to roll back and lay on the ground and let that wash off so that I can really tune into my body and feel where I felt it. Being with the rebound. And then we're going to do the whole thing on the other side. So rolling to your right side this time. So just flopping to the other side and finding yourself comfortable on your side. So taking a minute to just arrive. I'm going to flip so that you can see me. Ugh. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, I felt that one coming. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me, I'm sorry. So when you're ready, Once you're comfortable and on your side, bringing attention to your left foot and slowly bringing it to the air, letting it float or grabbing it. If you do want to let it float, I'll let you know when to grab it halfway through. Sinking into your side body. Paying attention to even your neck and your shoulders. You know, sometimes I even like to nestle my head into my arm and get a little extra massage. And we are halfway through, so if you desire to grab your leg, if you haven't already, go ahead and do so wherever you want to. This stretch is for you, like you can be bent or stretched straight. When you want to add those ankle rolls, go for it. Woo. And then letting that go, slowly bringing your foot down to the ground. Tuning into your breath. And once your foot's down to the ground, giving attention to your hands, and going right into your lying Buddha. Right hand to the side, left hand out in front if you desire to hold your support there. I'm going to stretch my legs so they're a little straight. And I'm going to press into my shoulders and my neck as we hold this lying Buddha pose. Feeling free to move the neck and the shoulders however you wish. You know that in these poses that we hold, that you can move and find your niche, that go to that edge, the edge that's good, right? You want to go to the good edge, that place of yumminess, that sensation that your body desires, that compression, and attention to your tissues, to your cells. Returning again, moment, minute after minute to your body, to the sensation, to the feeling, and to the breath. And then letting that go, giving your hands a slight push, you just let your bum fall to the floor, sit up straight or lay down, however you want to feel the rebound, right? Let the rebound come. And then when you're ready, bringing your foot to the ground, and crossing your foot over, we're to come into that seated swan, doing the opposite side. For me, that's the right foot down and the left foot laying across, spilling over your body, arching your spine, or just putting your arms behind you to find support. seated swan position. Walking your feet as close as you want to arrive to that layer of sensation that's desirable. Is there anywhere in your body through this pose that you're feeling some tension? Can you bring awareness to that part of your body and find some release, some relaxation, even though we're holding this pose? Can you do it with looseness? I don't know what I'm trying to find here. With flexibility, I guess, but not like I'm flexible type of flexibility. With flexibility as in like it's okay to shift or it's okay to release. Flexible in response. And then uncrossing your leg, letting that go. Windshield wiping your legs if that's what you wish, or finding stillness. Go ahead and just lay back onto your back. Let it wash off of you. We're going to do a laying down meditation today. And like I said at the beginning, I had a heavy heart this week. Where I went to school in Boulder, there was a mass shooting, which is hard because last week there was one in Atlanta, and this week there's one in Boulder. So as we lay here with your eyes either open, dimmed, or shut, I'd like to talk through a little mini meditation. If you could just repeat it in your mind after me as you lay and relax and try to find some peace. Inhale for inner peace. Exhale, let go of tension. Inhale for wellness. Exhale to release any tightness or resistance in your body. Inhale for equanimity. Exhale from the core of your being. Inhale for patience. Exhale without rush, taking your time. Inhale and dwell in transition. Exhale so you can begin again. Inhale for inner peace. Exhale, let go of tension. Inhale for wellness. Exhale to release any tightness or resistance in your body. Inhale for equanimity. Exhale from the core of your being. Inhale for patience. Exhale without rush, taking your time. Inhale and dwell in transition. Exhale so you can begin again. For this third round, I would like to dedicate it to the families and friends of the victims. If that is too much for you, I understand, and just Stay with yourself. Inhale for peace, peace for all. Inhale for wellness. Exhale, wellness for all. Inhale for equanimity. Exhale, equanimity for all people. Inhale for patience. Exhale, may patience spread to all like a lingering fire. Inhale, dwell in transition. Exhale, for the world is in transition. Continue to focus on your breath. May we find the inner peace. I'm going to quote John Lennon here. Imagine that there are no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living in peace. Drop into your body, into your breath. In that transition, peace be with you. Peace be with me. Peace be with all. Let us look into our souls and accept that all are we. Please feel free to stay where you are as I close out with my final prayer. Trayambakam yajame sugandhi pushkivaranam orvarukamiva bandana mityor mutyamamitat Om Trayambakam yajame sugandhi pushkivaranam orvarukamiva bandana mityor mutyamamitat Om Trayambakam yajame sugandhi pushkivaranam Orvarukamiva bandana mityor mutyamamitat Om Savesham Svastir Bhavatu Savesham Shantir Bhavatu Savesham Purnam Bhavatu Savesham Madalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavatu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niyamaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashatu Makashat Dukaba Bhave Asatoma Sakamaya Pamasoma Jatir Kamaya Vidyamam Vidam Gamaya Om Purnamida Purnamida Purna Purna Mudashate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishate Om Shanti 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 Om Peace Peace Peace. The light in me honors and respects the light in you. I like to end with a bow. Thank you.